honest with you. No one in the gym is watching you right now. You're not being judged. You're simply just not that important. And if you're scared to train because you think people are staring, that's not anxiety. That's ego. Next time you're at the gym, I want you to look around. Everyone is caught up in their own little version of anxiety. Everyone is looking around to see if people are looking at them when the truth is, no one is looking at you. I've shown up to the gym in some of the most atrocious clothing that you've ever seen in your life. I show up in dad shirts, show up in Crocs, I live barefoot sometimes, alright? The truth of it is, no one cares. No one. And the only thing that can get into your own head about this is ego, and you're not alone in this. Whenever I first started lifting, I thought everyone would care. I thought everyone was looking at me, and it made me insecure. But the truth is that as yourself, you're always gonna put this higher priority on your own existence and your own behavior because you're scared of how people will actually socially, perceive you. You'll think that these people care about you when the truth is no one cares. And the people that do care, they care about effort. They care about effort, not your actual, how much weight you're lifting, how you're lifting it. They care about effort. When I started in the gym, I could barely bench the bar. Now, I can throw around 235 for sets of 8 on a Larson press with no leg drive. That's quite the drastic increase. At one time, I could barely squat a plate. I could barely squat the bar without, having stability issues. Now, I can squat 405 for 6 and 500 for 1 equipped. No recording of that, but take my word for it. This video is not to tear you down. This video is not to make you feel like less of a person if you're scared of going to the gym. The truth of it is that this video is to put you in the right mindset that you are a lifter. Anyone who lifts is a lifter. You belong there. You can relate this back to the corny Planet Fitness. Everyone's blah 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 on this planet, or whatever the saying was. Don't be corny about it, but everyone is a lifter. If you go and lift weights, you're a lifter. You belong there. You're part of the group. Okay? You don't even have to lift hard. At first, you don't. Now, would I encourage it? Yes. Beyond a certain point, you're going to have to start lifting hard, or your progress is going to completely stagnate. So, what we're going to do is I need you guys to get started. Just get in the gym. You might have quit once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. You might be someone that's already been going to the gym for like maybe 3 years and you still just cannot get consistent. The truth of it is if you feel anxious going to the gym, just put it into your own mind that it's ego, not anxiety. The people that get judged are the people that quit. Whenever you tie yourself to being a lifter, you lift because you lift. Now I understand. Not everyone has been lifting for a long time, and not everyone has gotten to a point where their own like feed of validation and stuff is themselves. Like me, I'm a lifter. My feed of validation and dopamine is from being a lifter, actually doing the activity. But to get to that point to where it's like you lift because it's what you do and it's part of your identity, to get to the point where you can just automatically go there and not even think about it. You can push sets to failure and it's not like a 10-minute hype up routine. Then listen to this video. Keep watching. When you first start going to the gym, you're anxious. You're scared. Your muscle in your body is not used to it. You need to start off light. You need to start off easy. And same thing for the people that have been going to the gym for a long time. Your body, even though, you might be in a place of ego where it's like, I've been going to the gym for so-and-so years, I should be able to do this. The truth is, to get anywhere in the gym, you have to drop your ego off at the door. Right now, I've worked up to a respectable amount of weight. For instance, squats. I don't want to go below 4 plates for like a working set because for me, that makes me feel like I'm weaker than I should be. But in reality, if I want to continue growing, as someone that even to squat 500 pounds, I need to be completely fine with people perceiving me as someone that can only squat 3. Because after 4 sets of squats, very hard sets, not 4, maybe just 2, I'm honestly, I'm gassed. I'm ready to drop down to like 3 plates and like a 35 or something. And just that shows the ego that we all inherently have. You cannot be scared of that. And for me as well, I don't do dumbbell press. Whenever I do dumbbell press, my first set is okay. I don't know what the standards are for that, but after 2 or 3 sets, I'm down to like the 50s, man. And for me, that's quite humbling. But to get anywhere in life, you need to be humbled. Don't ever get so full of yourself to the point where you think that you're better than anyone else. Because, chances are you're not that guy. You might be the strongest guy in the gym at the moment, but there is someone out there that absolutely mogs you, that lives in a random African village in freaking Kenya or something, and all he has to eat is like 3 tangerines and a bowl of rice, and the dude's 280 lean. Backstory of Ronnie Coleman. Nah, I'm just kidding. But back to the point. Whenever you first get into the gym and whenever you're getting back into the gym, focus on fun. Focus on consistent fun. What you need to do, if you like playing music, play your music. I like playing music. Now, I don't like always lifting with music, but for a lot of people, it is their driving point. They love listening to music. Get into the gym, make a playlist just for working out. Show up to the gym and just get hyped up. If that's what you need to get there, get hyped up. Now, the biggest obstacle with getting people into lifting is just getting there. The truth is that actually lifting itself, once you get into the zone, because lifting is very much a very easy activity to get into this like Zen mode. What is it called? The flow state? Because if you're growing correctly, you're gonna be on a weight where it's like it's difficult. It's beyond your current means, but you can do it if you try hard enough, and that's easy to get into a flow state with, because it's a very quantifiable measure. You just need to put on a certain amount of weight every week, and you can get into that flow state. But the true hard part of lifting is just getting there, getting in the car, driving there, or just signing up to practice. If you're in high school, just joining the team. Showing up to practice all the time. That's the hard part. What you need to do is make a commitment device. You need to commit yourself. This is when I go under these circumstances, which is all the time. If you feel bad, you can't just wait for a fair day. All right, there's something called fair day weather goers. That might sound kind of corny, but it's true. Some people will only do a certain habit whenever they feel fully optimal. And let's just say this. You feel optimal 80% of the time. That's great. You're going to go to the gym 80% of the time. So what? You're only going to miss like one workout bi-weekly? That one workout that you missed, even if it would have been suboptimal, is going to cost you probably just as much progress as the 2 that you hit. But don't get bogged down on that, all right? What it costs is not actual gains. You're not actually setting yourself backwards. What it costs is your mental state, your status as a lifter. Lifters don't miss. Lifters don't miss lifts. They lift every time and every single chance they get. And just a little side note, anybody watching this video that doesn't agree with what I say, stop watching it. Anybody that's watching this video that knows me and doesn't agree with what I say and they think it's corny, then stop watching it. I don't care. That's the truth. I never really have cared. Of course, me having to say that I don't care kind of proves that I cared at some point. So, you have a point. Good point. But unmaxing. With the gym, with the music, bring a friend. But once you get into the gym, and if you get into the gym based off of certain standards and certain people, eventually you'll fall off. Now, you might reach this point a few years in the future where your friends may move off into the military. Your friends may have, everyone's life moves in a different direction, but in order to overcome this obstacle that you will inevitably face as someone that gets into the gym with a friend, luckily I had that tie cut off a long time ago. Whenever I first got into the gym, I think the best way is to get an accountability partner and get someone to go with you, someone to go lift with you and progress alongside of you, local competition. But at some point, the chances are that guy will just be average. Those people will submit to just the averages, which somebody's got to be average, and they will just quit. After a while, they will just give up. Now, if you don't want to just be average, you don't just want to be like one of the other people who just, do it for a while and then just give up, even though you might like it a little bit, you might not. Who knows? After that happens, it's easy to get a dip in motivation. But you need to try and tie yourself to being a lifter before then. On days your friends don't go to the gym by yourself, grind time, beat them. That's your competition. It's your friend, but it's also your competition. On the days that they don't want to go with you, show up, grind. Give them a challenge. A challenge that, eventually you're going to beat them and you're going to have to find a new person in the gym to start competing with, but that's what's going to keep you in the game. One of the most, best ways that I think to actually stay in the gym is to just start powerlifting. Now, I'm a little bit biased, I'll admit, but one of the best things about powerlifting is its simplicity. You have 3 lifts that work out basically your entire body and your physique, besides your biceps. If you're a powerlifter and you are watching this channel, you want to be an aesthetic powerlifter. I have a course on that, but let's get back into my thought here. Hit biceps alongside those lifts. You do not want power biceps, but you only have 3 lifts. Those 3 lifts will hit basically your entire body. Those 3 lifts are quantifiable. This is where I'm getting into this. Tracking is a great measure to make sure that you're continuing to make progress, but not only that, it is a great measure to continue stimulating yourself and hitting yourself with dopamine to keep yourself in the gym, because while dopamine's gotten this bad reputation now, you don't want to be overloading your dopamine receptors. There is healthy and there's good dopamine, and lifting is one of those healthy and good dopamines. If you are cracked out chasing a goal, then it's not a bad thing. Now, for a lot of people, tracking their lifts is just a chore. It is something that is annoying to do. But if you power lift, there's only 3 lifts that you have to track, and you don't even need to do them very precisely. Like right now, 500-pound squat, 465-pound deadlift, 340-pound bench. Easy. I'm not a person that remembers things like that very easy. I'm not very good with numbers. But for just 3 lifts, and over time, you'll start putting more and more importance on them. And as a guy, you're going to remember your bench press anyways. So I feel like most beginners, especially people that are struggling with motivation, should chase strength. Safe strength, but strength. You should chase these 3 lifts because it's the easiest and most simplistic thing to do to stay consistent and to continue getting satisfaction out of the sport. Well, not just the sport, but the sport is a fun way to get, stay consistent. It's a fun way to stay in the gym. I think that I know that this is the best way to stay in the gym. It is to focus on strength. Now, for all people, you might not have access to free weight, so maybe you can't do the big 3. Now, on a Smith machine, I'd consider the bench press you could still do that one pretty well. The squat, you can still do pretty well. Deadlifts, that's a rough one. After I graduated high school, I was stuck at a Planet Fitness for a few months, and I was deadlifting, squatting, and benching on a Smith machine, and I can thoroughly say to you, I would not recommend the deadlift on there. But the squat and the bench, honestly, it's a kind of a safer way to do it. It's a safer way to actually do those lifts, but for the sake of the sport, I still prefer doing it free weight because it's just way cooler. Be honest with you, it's just way more anabolic. So for those Planet Fitness warriors like me, you can just track using different things. You can still use the bench press and still use the squat if you want to, but you could just add a different movement in there that's like a hip hinge, an RDL and stuff. Those still work surprisingly better than an actual deadlift, because anybody with a conventional stance can actually still deadlift pretty well, but I use sumo because my torso is insanely long, so it's a bit more awkward on the Smith machine. I'd still recommend it though, so recommend the squat and the bench. And maybe you don't need to do the deadlift, but try and get some sort of lower back work. You can do lower back extensions and stuff, because having a well-developed lower back is honestly one of the best things that you can do as far as just overall strength and stuff. Real world strength and picking stuff up uses your lower back quite a lot. Even if you pick it up correctly, brace yourself and everything, the lower back is just constantly getting hammered by basically everything you do. Having a strong lower back and upper back will actually it will give you more strength in the bench press. For me, part of my bench press training is upper lat work, your actual lats and your deltoids and stuff. The pecs honestly don't get used all that much for me, but that's based off your own biomechanics. For some people getting a sticking point in their bench press, they're going to have to just start, working on their pecs a bit more. So this is getting a little bit far away from the overarching concept of this video. Sorry, I kind of, powerlifting's my thing. I kind of like talking about it. I just like to say, for everyone struggling with consistency right now, just know that everyone has bad days. Even me, even people that love the gym, let's just go and pull some names out of my ass. Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, and freaking, Chris Bumstead, those people definitely do have days where they just don't want to. Now, are they more few and far in between? That's not for us to say. Shit, they might even have even more off days than we do. Because, I mean, it's their entire life. They're going to get burnt out eventually. But those people keep on showing up to the gym. And beyond that, go to your gym. Look at the local gym warriors. They're not even getting paid to do this. Look at me. I'm not getting paid to do this. I have made it a lifelong pursuit because it's very fun. It's good for my health, and it's something to keep your mind active. Because if you're not working towards anything, life is just depressing. So, before you decide to skip the gym again, just remember, that's what makes you average.